everyone, it's Tailz from Studio Wildfur here. Today I'm going to be looking at building maps in Fantasy Grounds Unity using one of the newly converted map tiles packs that I have. So how do we do it? So let's first we need to create our map canvas. So let's click on the images. I've just to set us up here. I've created a campaign in Fantasy Grounds Unity. It's using just the standard wood theme, and I created it using the Dungeons & Dragons 3.5e rule set, mainly because I'm an old school player. But you could create it, any theme, any rule set you like, should all work the same. So open up the images panel, right click in this area, and then click on create item, and this will be our blank map. So let's get rid of the images panel. Now the first thing you're going to want to do is click on the grid option here at the top, and then change our grid settings from the default 50 to 180. That's all of my map tiles are made with 180 pixels square being the map grid. Now the next thing we're going to want to do is we want to be able to have the map canvas as large as we can, with a little bit of area over on the side, because we'll have two main panels that we're working from. One will be the map, the other will be the assets panel, which I'll set up in a minute. So basically, just for the moment, put the image up in the top left hand corner like that, or the image canvas up there. We'll size it up in a minute. So next, come down to your assets, click on assets. This will bring up the assets panel, filter it by images. Now at the moment this one is going to be using the Alien Hive map tile set, which is the first set that I've converted. So we're going to put this panel over here. We're going to change its size, so just make it about 3 wide and as tall as the window can handle. So that way we'll see 3 wide and as many assets as can fill the screen. And we'll just move that over there. So that way we've got plenty of space to see all the assets we want to search through. Coming back over to our canvas, let's just stretch it out to take up the rest of the screen. There we go. Okay, so that's our workspace pretty much set up, ready to go. We've got the map canvas set up to handle a 180 by 180 image. The next thing we want to do is we want to set up our stamping tool. Now this is pretty important. So you want to go to Layers, take it off the Layer Selection tool, put it into the Tile tool. Now let's go and find. So just go and find one of the base tiles. So here's some tiles. So grab one and pop it into that little box there. So we've got the tile stamper tool selected, and we've just put a standard tile into that little tool, that little box there, because that pretty much determines. By doing this, it determines that what we stamp down will be 180 pixels by 180 pixels. So it conforms to the map. Now, we could just stamp down, every time we click, we'll be stamping down this whatever is currently in this box. But we don't want to do that. We want to drag assets from here onto the map. By having this little box here pre-filled with one of our default tiles, it means that everything that we drag in, because all my tiles are 180 pixels square, will be, each one, for example, will be correctly scaled. That's the main thing. So let me just get rid of all these. So as you can see, each tile that gets dragged in will be a line in the palette. Now what you can do is you can put them into folders, and I recommend doing folders. So let's call this folder floor. So let's just get rid of these. Let's delete them. Yep, there we go. Okay. Generally, when I do my map building, I have a couple of folders. So I'll have a floor folder. I'll have a walls folder. I'll also often have a features folder. And my features folder usually goes between the wall and floor, because you want to have the wall shadows over the top of the features. Okay, so now sometimes when map building, I find the map seems to glitch out. I don't know whether it's my system or whether it's just a bug in Fantasy Grounds. If it glitches a bit, just reopen it. There we go. So there we go. So back to my alien hive. Now, to use the map tiles, all you need to do is have the module installed. So I've got the Alien Hive Map Tiles module installed, and you just start building by plonking down the features as you go. So let's start with the floor. I usually start with the floor most times. So let's go with the Hive floor. This is nice and alien floor tile. So make certain we're on our stamping tool, and you just start dragging and dropping them in. And as you see, they'll start snapping to the grid. Go to the next ones over. So let's make this a big square room with a like a fancy edge to it. And put this one here. Where's another one of our? So there's a corner piece there. Another corner piece here. Another corner piece there, and then these are these sections here. Now this is just a sample, so I'm just going to show you. I'll just make 2 rooms. Now controls, quick little tutorial on controls. With the mouse, clicking while the tooltip's filled, the tooltip is pre-filled. Clicking on the tabletop will just add in another whatever is already filled. Dragging an asset in will drag in that particular asset. You can zoom in and out on the map by just using the mouse wheel. You can pan around the map by clicking and holding the mouse wheel or the center mouse button. Allows you to click and pan around. That's pretty much all the controls you really need with map building. Now, there is one quite important thing that I'll show you in just a moment, and that is, don't use the layer selection tool. It seems to create problems, or at least it does on my system. Pretty much the only tool you're going to need is the tile stamper tool. If you need to go back and change one of the tiles, stay in the tile stamper tool and just select in the list which particular tile you want to change. And then if you want to change it, swap it out for another one, you just basically select it, delete, and then drag in another one. Don't try and use the layer selection tool to change things. I'll show you why in just a moment. It resizes things, which looks really bad. So anyway, a quick little thing about managing layers. Everything new that you bring onto the canvas will automatically be dumped at the top of the list. This makes it a little bit difficult to move things into folders, because let's just say I select all these layers, I want to put these into the floor folder. Notice how I picked them up, they disappeared, and floor's up here. For some reason or another, I highlight to let me drop them in there. To fix this, just select your layer, your folders, put them at the top of the list. Select what you want to change, what you want to put in there. Select it all, and then just drag and drop. For some reason or another, because, so for example, if this features folder is at the bottom, if I select all this stuff, go to drag it, see how features just jumped up the top, and now I can't mouse over it, but I can mouse over floor. Just drag it to the top of the list, and then once you put it into your folder, just reorder it from there. Once things are in a folder, you can select the folder and move the whole lot around, which is pretty cool. But again, stay in the tool stamper, the tile stamper tool. So there's our room. Let's give it some walls. So I'm just going to create a folder, call it walls. Put that at the top of the list. Doop. Oh, hang on, what's happened here? Oops, I've renamed the wrong folder. That's meant to be my floor. This folder is meant to be my walls. So I'm not really going to worry about reordering them now, because I'm going to be reordering them in a minute. So let's go back to there and have a look at our walls. If you've used any of the Studio Wildfur map tiles before, this will all be pretty familiar to you. Okay, so let's start putting in some walls for this room. So we'll start with that one, do over this side, and then we'll go searching for this corner. Then we want to do around the top. We'll put a door over here. Then we want to have another corner piece. Oops, did I just go past it? Put that there. Now we want walls down the western side, so let's just go here. So we'll make this an entrance. Here we go. So there's our room, and we're going to have an entrance just here. So let's go back to top, cornerstones. Okay, so let's put in these corners. Where's this one? There we go. So there's the walls to our room done, and with an opening so we can put in a doorway. So let's order these around. So we want, now this is going to hide things for an instance because I'm putting the floor folder up above. So put walls above that. Put features between them. Now I grab all my walls and pop them into the walls folder. So everything, we've now got everything in the correct folders. So it's a little bit of management, but it means that you can then do things where, for example, I could hide the walls. But we want the walls visible. Now let's pan over a little bit. Let's put another room. Let's put a little room here. So let's go back to the floor tiles. Let's make it a set of steps. So we'll make it like it goes. How can we do this? We'll put the floor in first. High floor. Oops. So we go this big one. Then we go this one. And that one. And then let's finish off with this one again. So this is going to be our little room. Now let's go to our steps. So let's start with this one here. So we'll make it go up here, up there. Which means we're going to need... Actually, let's do this as a bigger set of steps. So we'll go back to the Hive floor. So make this a bit bigger. Okay. Now the reason why I'm putting down a floor first is because I'm actually using some tiles. Where is it? This one. Where, as you can see, he's got a bit of a transparent bottom step, which means we can pop him in there and the bottom texture shows through, which means we can do things like go back to the Hive steps, put this step here and this one here, and where are we? This one here. There we go. So it sort of shows through. So we don't necessarily need that one in the middle. Let's get rid of that. So it's just a case of figuring out which one it is. That's the one. So this is sort of going to be not really a room, it's going to be a staircase. So it'll sort of dead end there. Now, I'll quickly show you why you don't use the layer selection tooltip. Because if we watch this one here, if I click layer selection tooltip, oh, it's probably now I've got people watching. It's probably not going to do it. Yep. Must only want to do it with the floors. Okay, so let's put these tiles into our floor folder. So once again, select them, drag them in, reorder it, there we go. Okay, so let's go and put in the walls for this section. So we're going to need a dead end. Where's the dead ends? Can't remember where I put them. Probably in the passageway. Here we go. So let's put a dead end here, because that's where, we're going to go to the next level there, so we'll do a different map from there on. But we're going to want... Ah, there it is. Did you see how this just changed dimensions? That's what happens when you use the layer selection tool. I was a bit of a silly kid, and it's changed sizes. So we don't want that happening, so let's get rid of that layer. Go back to our... yeah. Because I had this whole folder selected, and I went from the layer selection tool to the stamper tool, it changed the size of the whole lot, which is a pain in the butt. Which means we'll have to remake it. If you know that this... I'm not certain whether this is a glitch or whether this is how it's meant to work. I've posted a question on the Fantasy Grounds forum, and I'm waiting for a reply. But it's... If you know that the bug is there, you don't end up using the layer selection tool. You just use the tile tool. So let's quickly rebuild these walls. Because you won't have the problem if you know not to use that tool. So let's quickly pop these down. Back to the walls. Actually go to cornerstones. So Actually, I don't want to use that one. I want to use a different one. That one. And then I want to use this one. There. So back to putting in there. There. This should also give you an idea of how quickly you can build a dungeon with map tiles. It's mostly a case of finding the right pieces to go in where you want them. So that one goes there. Let's use it again. Let's use it again over here. Nudge it into position. Let's build in the walls. I want that there. Let's use this one here. Oops. Just move the whole panel. Didn't mean to do that. Put that one there. And where are we? So we need wall sections here. Ah, here we go. So. And we need that. Then we need, I can just grab another passageway section. Plonk it there. There we go. There's our little map built. Didn't take long to make that. Again, just always using the tile stamper tool. You won't have a problem. I'll just put these into the walls holder. And there we go. So it's just as I said, don't use the layer selection tool, or else you'll find it'll just, you know, maybe it's a bug on my system. Who knows? Maybe it's a bug in the system. I don't really know, but it does mess up things. But converting these map tiles over to Fantasy Grounds Unity as a art asset is something brand new that I'm doing. You know, maybe it's just a bug in the system I've got to work out. But one of the things that I'm hoping will work now that we've got this in, if we turn this to play, let's get rid of the assets. Let's create an encounter. Let's pop a character in. And hopefully, if we turn on enable line of sight, and then I go and select that character, haha! As you can see, the line of sight is working. It is a little bit glitchy though. As you can see, there's little bits sort of light popping through these areas. That's because each map tile has its own sort of borders on where the light gets stopped. Fantasy Grounds Unity seems to have a little bit of a problem because there's so many pieces. So it's a little bit of trial and error. Maybe make your map and then go and adjust it. You know, go and redo the line of sight. But it sort of works. Anyway, if you've got any hints or tips or comments or anything you want to know about, just let us know. You can find me at wildfur.com. You can find me on the Fantasy Grounds forums. Just look for Tailz Silver Paws. Or if you really want to take part and help me along, come and join me on Patreon, patreon.com/wildfur. Your support helps me produce these videos and helps me produce more bits and pieces for online gaming. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you have a lot of fun with these map tiles. Goodbye.